Okay.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, this is the first episode of Music Evolution Revolution. I wanted to set up this podcast to kind of go over a bunch of different types of music, how it's changed over the years, and some of the great bands that have come from it. So today I am so excited to welcome Mr. Brandon Gibbs from Poison, Cheap Trick, and also a solo artist on his own. Welcome.
Hey, thank you. It's actually the second group is actually Cheap Thrill, not Cheap
Cheap
Trick.
Thrill. I'm so sorry. Not Cheap
Oh,
Trick,
that's all right.
Cheap Thrill.
I'm a Cheap Trick fan, though, definitely. How are
Awesome.
you, my dear?
I'm doing great. So I'm going to jump right in as I
Okay.
have a bunch of questions to ask, and I'm excited to see what your answers are.
All right.
So you and Joel Hoekstra will be embarking soon on your US and European run of the Campfire Tour. With the name the Campfire Tour, how did that come to fruition?
Um, well, it's kind of gone back and forth from the Campfire Tour to Hoekstra Gibbs. For the first 5.5 years, it was the Campfire Tour, and the reason is, um, we had a show when we first started doing this at a place in, I think it was Wisconsin, called the Potawatomi Casino, and I know I'm probably saying that wrong. And one of the venues inside that casino that we played was called the Campfire Lounge. And so I thought it was kind of cool, and it fit with what we're doing. We're telling stories, we're playing you know songs from our bands and stuff. And I was like, man, it's kind of like sitting around a campfire and just having a good time with your buds. And so that is kind of how it evolved. And then now we more call it Hoekstra Gibbs because we've kind of worn that one to pieces. But yeah, and it's such a clever name, Hoekstra Gibbs. But yeah, it really started out with us playing in a campfire lounge, and I just go, all right, that makes sense. That's what we'll call it for a while.
That's awesome. I think that's an awesome way for a name to come to fruition. All right, you also got to be a part of a few of Poison shows for the big stadium tour, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
What is that like compared to the smaller campfire tour shows?
Well, the guys from Poison have been friends of mine for 20 plus years. And I was actually talking to the drummer last night, and I was telling him, man, I met you guys when I was like 15. This is what? No way. No, him and I were in a band called the Devil City Angels. And then later on, he asked me to sing. It was 2015, to sing with the guys of Poison in a group called Special Guests. We didn't call it Poison. We didn't feel right doing that. And then later on, here comes the stadium tour this last summer. How it came about, and how it is different is, well, it's night and day, to be honest. I mean, the stadium was sometimes 55,000 people. You look out there, and it's just a sea of people, and there is a little bit of oh my god factor happening. And you go out there and you do your hour, and you try and entertain and connect with all those fans as much as you can. um it's tough to get that close connection like you do when it's a smaller venue. And let's say we're doing an acoustic show for 200 people or something like that. We feel almost like it's our living room, and we can talk and maybe stop a song here or there and tell you why we wrote the song. And those aren't things you can do in a high, fast-paced, moving show like the stadium tour. But hats off to those guys, man. After I think it was Detroit, when I got the call that I could go home, man, they had more shows. They did like 44 shows. So I just want to throw that in there. Hats off. It was a hot summer. It was a fun summer, and both have their benefits. You get to rock hard on a stadium and just wow, and then you get to really connect personally and spiritually at times, connect at the more intimate shows. So those are kind of the differences. I talk a lot. I'm drinking a bunch of coffee right now, so I hope I answered your question.
That's awesome. All right, so you have some of your own solo music that has come out recently. What was one of your favorite songs that you've written and recorded, and why did it end up being your favorite?
The I have a song called First Friend that I recorded, that is kind of my favorite of all for a couple reasons. This song is about a son dancing with his mother at his wedding, and he's basically saying, before I turn the chapter, before I close go to the next phase, I want to dance with the first person I ever met, my first friend, the one that took me under her wing and gave me wings. And it's just a very nice kind of letter to your mother. Mothers are very, very important people. And I love my mother, and my mother manages my travel. And so it kind of hits home because, I've been through so much with my mom in travel and business and family, and her praying for me all the time, that you're just writing a letter saying, before I turn the page tonight, bring it in. I want to dance one more time. So probably the song First Friend. That's one that we'll be playing on the US, the March 4th in Cincinnati, and also the UK tour. We'll do that one.
And we're definitely excited to have you here in Cincinnati yet again. I think you guys were here probably about a year or so ago.
Absolutely.
And I remember that one because that was a very fun night when my friends Heidi was with me that night, all the way from Indiana. So that was a fun night.
Good little road trip. How far was that for a drive for her?
I think she said it was about 4 hours or so.
Oh, God bless her.
Yeah, it was a long drive because I think she came from like Waynesville, Indiana.
Okay.
So that was quite the trip for her to actually make it all the way down there.
Well, thank you. Her name's Heidi.
Yeah, Heidi Whitrock. She's Joel knows her a lot. Like you'll see her usually on his Twitter.
Okay, actually, I think I recognize the handle, to be honest with you. But thank you, Heidi, for the drive. I hope maybe we'll see you on the 4th. Who knows?
I think she won't be able to make it this year as she's stated, but she'll be at the Indiana show the night before. So
perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect.
so she'll be in Indiana. All right. Did you always know growing up that you wanted to do music? And if you hadn't have gone into music, what profession would you have chosen?
First of all, that's a great question. I often ask my friends that question. If you haven't decided to do this, what would you do? Just out of pure curiosity, because I truly believe you can be good at multiple things. I definitely knew I wanted to be a musician. I was always in class daydreaming of guitars and guitar amps and drawing pictures of guitars. I'd get out of class and go home, practice. Anybody that would speak to me about music, any adult, I'd tear their ear off. I had to have all the information, and I would just wake up thinking about it and go to bed thinking about it. And my parents were kind enough to understand that that's what I wanted to do, and that's not the path for everybody. It's a scary path, to be honest with you, because it's uncertain. But that's the beauty in the journey, is the uncertainty and the chase. So I knew, and they knew, and thankfully, they weren't. I mean, they might have been a little scared at times, but they supported me through it, and I was able to get to where I'm at and be able to do this and keep a roof over my family's head, playing the guitar and writing songs. So very grateful for that and their support. I would also like to add, if I wasn't playing guitar, and this might make people laugh, I would probably try and be a chef in some way, because I am a wannabe chef. I love to cook for my friends. That's what I do when I'm home on the weekends. I invite people over, and it could be anything from chicken wings to homemade pizza to breakfast food. It's just a passion. It's almost like playing guitar. You pull out the seasoning cabinet and you start adding things, and next thing you know, people go, I like that. And that kind of feeds your ego that, hey, maybe I can make, a Philly cheesesteak better and better and better. So probably something in the culinary field, as surprising as that might sound.
Wow, that is surprising. That's awesome. It makes me think of my time in Italy because everyone takes cooking so seriously over there.
Ooh, yeah, absolutely. How long were you there for?
I was there for 5 months studying abroad.
Oh, what an experience.
It was absolutely mind-blowing, of the best kind. It was just outstanding.
What was your favorite? I'm gonna ask you a question. What was your favorite food over there?
Wow, that's a hard question. I would have to say I went down to Naples and Pompeii for a couple of days, and I have to say Naples pizza is some of the most famous pizza in the world because that's where pizza was really first created. And I have to,
Yeah,
those Naples people, whatever they do to their pizza is outstanding. I could not get enough of it.
that's awesome. Pizza is like my favorite food ever, by the way.
That's awesome. All right, let's see. What is more fun for you, performing or writing and recording?
Mm, another great question. I I can't. They both have different kind of euphorias. They're both they're like a different kind of drug. Each one of them, I guess, and that's a like I get I get high off playing in front of people and the fact that they're having a good time and later on they tell me, man, that show was so great and that or the story moved me and that's the beauty of playing live. You're connecting with people and humans and you're taking you're taking them out of the day to day and that could be stress with the job, family problems, money, whatever it is that's weighing on them. You eliminate that for that hour and a half or 2 hours, whatever you're playing. So that is very very special and that is something I take very serious. However, I tell people that when I'm not here anymore, when the Lord calls me home, my music stays here and it will live on. And so that I really really take super serious because one of these days my daughter's going to have this collection. This is dad's work. And and I want to talk to dad. Okay, I'm going to hit play. And so they're both so special. I can't pick a favorite, but there is something to be said about a long lasting piece of work that stays on this earth after you go. And so that is the beauty of recording.
That's such a touching answer. And for anyone who ends up watching this, you can actually see the relationship between Brandon and his daughter through his different social media pages. And I have to say, she seems like an absolute joy. I've seen her in photos from when she was little where she was doing hand drawn puppets with Joel Hoekstra
Oh
backstage.
yeah.
She's definitely grown up in the spotlight, but she is such a cutie and she seems like such a doll.
Yeah, it's great. She has a great relationship with the bands that I work with, and we're all dads, so it's just I think anytime one of us has one of our kids with us out on the road, it kind of brings you up, it brings you home. It's like I actually took Shelby for a little bit on her name's Shelby on the stadium tour. She got to spend a few nights with me and I think it just made everyone kind of go, oh, yep, that's what it's all about. And it's just a beautiful thing. I absolutely love being a dad.
All right. This is a question that many might know but many might not know. How did you get to know the band Poison in the first place?
Well, when I was 15, I think it was 15 years old, there was a promoter that had hired us to open for Peter Frampton a few years before. And anyways, we had a good relationship with him and he was extremely successful, extremely generous. And he said, I want you to open up for Poison at my festival. I want to say it was Father's Day and or the week of Father's Day. And honestly, I wanted to be a blues guitar player so bad. I was only listening to Allman Brothers and Hendrix and BB King. Where all of a sudden we started venturing into the rock world. I'm like, wow, this is interesting. I gotta learn more about these guys. Of course, I knew of them, but just no idea the vast catalog that they had. And so at 15 years old, opened for them, and they asked us to come out and open a few more times, and just became friends. We went backstage and talked drums, talked gear, talked recording. I asked Ricky or my brother, one of us asked Ricky if he would ever consider producing some songs, and he said yes. So we went out to his house and he helped us like create these songs and just young men. And anytime they needed somebody, we to play before them, we would do it. next thing you know, Rocket and I started discussing the Devil City Angels, and we got a record deal, put out a record, and just the friendship has just always been, I don't know, like older brothers kind of thing, and that means a lot to me. And they have I mean, they just have wonderful fans, and their fans have been, you know, so great. And every show that to me, and every show that I do on my own, I always tip my hat to those guys, because it was truly a Mark Wahlberg rock star moment. If you remember that movie Rockstar, where he got the opportunity of a lifetime and it changed his life, and those guys kind of did that without even knowing it. They totally took me under their wing several times, and that's, it's just older brother stuff now.
Aw, that is amazing. All right, so you're on the advocate team with Free to Love, is that correct?
I am I'm an ambassador for Free to Love, the anti-bullying, anti-suicide kind of campaign. Absolutely.
It and what is your favorite thing about the nonprofit Free to Love?
My favorite thing is like there's a lot of us. They act or ask actors, musicians, anyone with a stage, a platform. My favorite thing is being vulnerable and talking about bullying and things that that maybe haunted you, that you overcame, and you're watching these people that look so strong and prominent, really just disassemble their lives, and tell you, hey, I've been there. There's nothing different about this situation. And I can tell you, if I've overcome and I'm standing here on this stage, then you can too. And not really just saying it because you say it, but really truly meaning it and believing it. So my favorite part would probably be the fact that we're letting our guards down. We're not being cool. We're being people. And we're talking heart to heart. This is what I've gone through. This is a season. And so please just know this too will pass. So just letting our guards down, and being human. No celebrity, no musician, me talking to you.
And may not know this, I'm actually also on the advocate team, as well as Brandon is an ambassador with them. And Free to Love is such an amazing nonprofit. And I have to say, if you guys run across it, please join our mission, because Free to Love is truly a life-changing platform for so many.
Amen. And I didn't know that you're on. That is so awesome. God bless you.
Yeah, I think I might have mentioned it at the last campfire tour when you were in Cincinnati, and I think that was quickly followed by my dress. I had fringe in my dress and it got snagged on Joel's bracelet, so I went to walk away and we were connected.
I think I remember this. Was this up front of the venue?
Yeah, we were doing the meet and greet, and I'm one of Joel's students off to the side, so that
Oh,
was
he
embarrassing.
teaches you?
So yeah, so I basically cracked the only joke I could, and I was like, of course I'd be the one to literally get stuck to you.
Yes. That's awesome.
I still remember that day because I went to give a hug to you, and then I realized, oh crap, I'm stuck. Because I felt the tug on my arm, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah. Yeah. All these pieces of flair, they get to. My dog loves them. He gets caught up in them all the time.
Yeah, that is the one side of like stage clothes, concert outfits. They can lead to some embarrassing, funny stories. Oddly enough.
Yeah, absolutely. I like all the, dressing, I like fashion and things like that, but it's so funny when you're getting out of a car with your stuff and it gets snagged on an armrest, or your dog rips it off. It's like you forget that you're wearing it until you get stuck on something.
Yeah. All right. What song for you had the deepest meaning or story behind it
Um,
of
like
your own music?
some of my music or someone else's.
Yours. Like, what song for you that you wrote has had the deepest meaning or story behind it?
Probably the song "His Name." It is a song about my daughter's cousin, baby cousin, who passed away at 5 months. And
My condolences.
yes, and it was, it was a life-changing thing. I have never witnessed anything as sad as that. And going through the line at the funeral, so many thoughts were in my head. Because what do you say to somebody? What do you say to a parent that has lost a child? And anywho, I did the best I could. We all did. And seeing that sweet baby in a casket, just, it tore me apart. And so um I was jogging weeks after, and I just got hit with emotion. Like, you need to write about this, and maybe you can help somebody who's grieving. And the idea is, don't say I'm sorry. You're almost mad, but you're saying, don't say I'm sorry for your loss. I mean, he had a name. Oh God, I didn't mean to yell, but I'm going through some hell. My life's just not the same. Don't say tomorrow's a brand new day, because my eyes don't see that way. If you think I want to live when I got nothing left to give, you can throw your words away. And it's coming from the person who lost the child. That's I'm reading these thoughts in their head. This has got to be what they're thinking. Just say his name one more time. Just say his name. And so that's probably the one that gets everybody the most. And it's hard to even talk about. But his name off October 24 was specifically about a family member.
Wow, that is extremely touching and sad. As someone who has had 9 losses from 2021 to now, I also
Uh,
definitely can feel for that. And also, as a funeral director's goddaughter, and my dad was a funeral director, I definitely empathize with anyone who has lost someone. It's one of the hardest things to go through, but to
yep,
have parents lose their child is just unimaginable pain.
unimaginable. And I just, yeah, the only thing I could do is write about it. And I think people everyone can relate. We all have someone that has passed on, that meant the world to us. And um, that that's writing for you. I can't say it in front of to someone face to face, but I can put it in a song. And then when you hear that song, it takes you to wherever your heart needs to go. And so, yeah, I couldn't say anything because I didn't have the words. I'm honestly, I didn't. Uh, so I did the best I could, and then it instantly came to me in a song. So, thank God for music, and
Yeah.
that way I was able to express, how I was feeling or how they were feeling.
Music can truly help all of us to definitely have times in our lives where we just want to escape from reality for however
Mm,
long, and music has that power to it that's just so incredible.
100%.
All right, so do you ever get stage fright before going on? And if so, how do you get through it?
The answer is yes. I get stage fright every single time. Could be, honestly, jumping in a meet and greet and playing to 12 people or something like that, or going out and playing arenas. Joel and I actually share this together. Um, you just go do it, and it's a very anxious feeling. I want to do the best I can. Um, I don't want any gear to fail. And at the end of the day, it's a different memory each night. You're not recreating a perfect night. So that's what you got to tell yourself. This is not last night. Last night's crowd was great. Everything was great. You're going to have a snag somewhere, and you're just going to have to deal with it. So I don't know. Maybe not take yourself so serious that you scare the bejesus out of yourself. Um, I personally like to pick on myself. I like to,
I'm the
I like
same.
to, I like to laugh. I like to point out my flaws, I guess you could say, and have fun with them. And that makes it a little bit easier if I'm backstage and we go through a song and I flub a lyric or something like that. instead of hating myself for it, I choose to laugh and fix my mistake. So probably just not taking yourself so serious, but again, that's easier said than done.
Exactly. Exactly. I've had my own flubs on stage, and I can tell you, I look back at those videos that are online of me performing with whatever group, whatever I'm doing, and I never take myself seriously, and I always end up pointing out there's about a million things in that video that I could have done so much better. We are
Yeah.
all our own worst critics if life has taught me anything.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's like you think you can bully me? Nah, I'm my biggest bully. Don't worry about that. I got that.
Exactly. What is one of the biggest moments in your career in your mind where you have said to yourself, I can't believe I've had the chance to do this?
Hmm. Uh, Definitely last summer. Yeah, I playing with Def Leppard, Motley Crue, Poison, Joan Jett, Classless Act, all those people back there celebrating music. Granted, we had to keep kind of our distance for safety, so the tours could go, but that was really kind of a big one. I mean, well, it's one of the biggest stages in the world is a stadium, right? So I remember, when I was finally done, I was helping out. Their singer fell ill, and so I was helping out. And I remember my last day, uh, walking up the ramp to my bus to get my stuff, so my driver could take me to the hotel airport. I took a video of me of walking up the ramp, and I said, I can't believe that just happened. It was like um, everything all at once just hit me. I cannot believe that just happened. And I said in the video, I said, well, I'm headed home. And right when I said I headed home, my battery died. So it was just like a scene of a movie. You just did
A
something.
surreal moment.
Yeah. You're like, I can't believe I just did this. I'm heading home to take this all in. My phone went, "Oop." So the stadium tour is definitely a big one for me. Now, there's other ones, um, where, for instance, I really, really, really enjoyed meeting Greg Allman and from the Allman Brothers. And I didn't get to play with Greg, but his tour manager set us up a meet and greet, a personal one, because a friend of his said that these guys are, it's me and my brother, are some kids that you want to meet. They just played in Sarasota, and knocked this blues festival out of the park. And I was such a huge Allman Brothers fan, still am. That meeting the lead singer, that was like, did this just happen? I mean, when he came out of the back of the bus, it was like I was looking at something spiritual. Like he had a glow around him and his long hair, and I'm just like, this is not happening right now. So the whole way home, I was pinching myself and looking at the camera back then, big old picture of us. I'm like, oh my god, this is nuts. So probably the stadium tour, and then meeting one of my idols, Greg Allman.
Meeting an idol is absolutely something that all of us have done before. And it is definitely one of the most nerve wracking moments, but one of those moments where you will definitely pinch yourself, like Brandon said, and go, I can't believe this literally just happened.
Well, and the best thing is when you meet someone that you look up to, and they exceed your expectations, and it's like they're human. And I met Nicolas Cage at one of our shows, and
Oh, it's awesome.
he's a huge music fan, and I was like, man, I don't want to. He seems like he's maybe grumpy or something. I don't know. I don't want to mess. My sister
Somebody's
didn't.
in a bad mood, yeah.
I didn't know. And I'm like, don't ruin this for me. I think he's the coolest guy ever. And my sister didn't care. She walked right up to him, put her arm around him, and he was awesome to her. And so I was like, this is, great, because you hear things, people have bad experiences, whatever. I really haven't had very many bad experiences at all. Everyone that I looked up to or look up to has been wonderful.
All right. So very quickly, Nicolas Cage was married to Lisa Marie Presley. God rest her soul. Just have to say that.
Yes, yes.
What is your funniest stage blunder or mistake that you've had happen to you?
There's so many. Okay. Well, so when I was young, I got a wireless guitar system for Christmas, and we had some shows. I'd never played with one, and I was so excited, right? You can just so you know, you're not connected to your amplifier. I can go anywhere all over the stage, and my wireless picks up the guitar signal. So you can walk around and do whatever you want. I got overly excited, jumped off the stage, and was in the audience playing. And then I realized I have no way to get back up on stage. So I'm out in the audience, and the band doesn't know when, they don't know when to end the song. I can't communicate with them, and I can't get back up on stage. And I think like a bunch of audience members started picking me up. I was like really thin. I was 16 or so. Really, I think they kind of picked me up and put me back on there. So what started out as a cool looking thing was really like he didn't think this thing out at all. There was no steps to get on the stage. You had to like climb up on it anyways. And I just didn't think about it. I jumped off and had to the ending of the song was a disaster.
All right, final question, as my Zoom is reminding me that I'm running out of time before it will just quit on me.
Okay.
What do you have coming up besides the Campfire Tour in 2023? What can fans look forward to?
I have a new song called You Are coming out. I just came back from Nashville last week, and it's a very powerful song. It is a different song. It has some really deep guitar in it, and it has a choir in it. And I don't think anybody's ever heard me do a song with a choir. So you're going to get a new song, a little choir in it, and then of course more dates. I do a lot of solo dates without Joel, and he does the same with other bands. But I think most importantly, I'm looking forward to giving you guys a new song.
That's awesome. It's been an honor having Brandon on here. Once this gets edited by my editors, we will put the links to Brandon's website, Joel's website. Unfortunately, he couldn't join us today due to schedule overlapping, so he wasn't able to join us today, but you can see them on the Campfire Tour coming up in March and through the European Tour for those who are in Europe. It's been such an honor to have Brandon on here with me today. Thank you, Mr. Gibbs.
Hey, thank you for having me, and I guess I'll see you soon.
Yes, I will. You will see me on March 4th.
March 4th. I'll see you there.
And hopefully I can get a table, because last time I showed up late and I couldn't get a table.
We'll just get like stuck to Joel's jewelry, and you'll be right there. All right. Nice talking to you, friend.
All right. Nice talking to you. Bye, Brandon. Bye. Thank you so much for watching today, and stay tuned for our next interview. Thank you all.